I've done hundreds of product photography shoots for clients inside my photography company. I used to struggle with not being able to think of new ideas, dealing with constant revisions, and not really having any process when planning the photo shoot. Fast forward to today, and I follow a 5-step process that allows me to come up with new ideas easily. Very rarely do I deal with client revisions, and I have a systemized approach from when the client signs the proposal to getting them the final photos. If you're a photographer and you want to learn my favorite way to plan a product photography shoot, you're in the right place. By having an efficient process like this, you'll have less client revisions, you won't have to start from scratch every time, and you'll have a lot more free time to either take on more client work or just time for yourself. Gone are the days of saying you can't take on a project because you're fully booked. This is my 5-step process to planning a product photography shoot that gets the best results every single time. Step 1 actually begins before you're even officially working with the client. As soon as the client signs the proposal, I know that we're officially working together. But before that happens, before that proposal gets signed, I always have a sales call with the potential client. Some people call these discovery calls, but they're really the same thing. On this call, I actually pitch them the ideas of what I think would work well for their brand. If they're a coffee company and they're struggling with social media presence, I'll cater my strategy towards that. Maybe I think action product photos would do really well for this brand, or maybe close-ups of the coffee mixing with some milk to really bring out that taste appeal. I'm going to talk about how to actually generate unlimited ideas in just a little bit here, but first I need to get through a couple steps here. I'm actively pitching ideas to the client before they're even a client. Chances are they'll love the ideas. You'll have a great package to sell them because you took my free workshop in the description below that teaches you how to price and create packages, and the client will sign your proposal. By the way, my name is Chris Pieta. I run a product photography company, and I teach creative business online to creative freelancers that are starting and growing their businesses. Okay, step 2. Once they sign a proposal, we need to onboard them. This usually means sending out a quick form to ask them questions of what they like, what they want to get out of this project, any must-have shots, and also if there are any brands that they'd like to emulate during the shoot. I like to use Jotform for this. It's way more professional than using Google Forms. I have a link below where you can check out Jotform for free. Now, the last question I mentioned there is really important. I love asking them what brands they like because it gives me an idea of what kind of style they might want for this shoot. When they provide relevant examples, it makes it so much easier for me to present them with a mood board that they're going to love. Speaking of mood boards, that's step number 3. Now, I love mood boards for 2 big reasons, and the second one is something that no one really talks about. A mood board inside of my product photography company is essentially just hand-picked images from my portfolio or the internet that represents the direction of the style for the shoot. Mood boards are great because they give the client an idea of what to expect from the photo shoot. If they love the mood board, they're going to love the final photos if we do our job right. What this means for you is a lot less revisions because the photos have been almost pre-approved here. The second reason I love mood boards is this. They're a massive bonus that you can advertise that will provide the client with massive value. Not every photographer creates mood boards, and by including mood boards in your package, you can elevate your value as a photographer. This is a bonus that you can talk about during the sales calls, you can have it on your website copy, you can include it in your packages, and this brings up your perceived value and will make it more likely that the client will work with you. And this is great because mood boards benefit both parties. The photographer has to do less revisions and the client feels like they're in good hands. This is a win-win, and it always makes sense to present the client with a mood board like this. Now let's talk about how to actually generate the ideas for a mood board. I use Notion for mood boards, but it really doesn't matter what software you end up using. The software isn't important. It's what's inside that counts here. So how do I generate ideas for the photo shoot? Like I mentioned, the mood board should be a preview of the photo shoot. You should piece together an idea of what you want to be doing, the plan for the photo shoot. Based on your initial sales call and the onboarding form, you already have a good direction of where the client wants to go with this shoot. You've pitched them the ideas and they expressed interest in a few. And on their onboarding form, they included relevant examples of what they like. Now it's your job to take this info and set the creative direction for the shoot. I have 4 places where I get inspiration for my photo shoots. First, I'll start with my own portfolio. I've been photographing products for clients for 4 years now, so I've got a big collection of different shots in there. Action photos, creative setups, colorful backdrops, something for every client. I can go in there and pick out some of my favorite photos and recycle those ideas for a new client. It's okay to recycle your previous ideas for clients. Some clients will even point out images in your portfolio that they want emulated exactly like they look in your portfolio. There was this sports drink brand that I worked with where we did this awesome action photo, water splashing everywhere and a super dark background. It looked awesome. I actually borrowed this idea from another photo I took a few years back. I worked with a cold brew company and I did a really similar action photo using coffee instead. I switched up a few things, but the concept was the same and the photo came out amazing. It's okay to recycle ideas like this. Now, if you can't find anything from your own portfolio, I'll actually turn to Instagram. My photography business account, Pieta Productions, only follows other photographers that inspire me. My feed is filled with really beautiful photos that I can draw inspiration from for my client shoots. Whenever I scroll here, I get all sorts of inspo. I can take some of these ideas and use them in the shoot. You can even put these photos in a mood board that you send to the client. A mood board doesn't have to be just your own photos. In fact, it usually isn't. The mood board sets a tone for the shoot. So if there's another photographer whose work you really like, it might make sense to include that in your mood board. Go for it. A good mood board will have work from many different photographers a lot of the time. Now, I'm not saying to steal anyone's work here. We're just generating inspiration here. Now, the third place I look for inspo is the onboarding form. I already kind of talked about this, but when we ask the client for brands or images that they would like to emulate, the client's going to link to some of these. You can look through them, see which ones make sense to include, and add them to the mood board. Easy place to find inspo that the client already loves here. Okay, lastly, if you're still struggling with inspiration, you can ask ChatGPT for some help, and then go to Pinterest and look up those ideas. ChatGPT is surprisingly good at generating ideas, so this is a great thing to try if you're struggling. Speaking of AI, pretty soon we might be able to generate entire mood boards that are actually really good with just a few prompts. That's going to be pretty wild. Already with Midjourney, you can generate images, so I'm excited to see where this goes in the future. Okay, so we've created the mood boards inside of Notion or your software of choice. Time for step number 4. Let's share it with the client and review it with the client. I mentioned at the very start of this video that this method will reduce revisions because of your communication and planning with the client. This goes a long way to enhance their customer experience as well. Send the mood board and schedule a prep call to walk through it. This is going to be a 15 to 30 minute call. I do them over Zoom so that I can share my screen. We'll talk project details and walk through the onboarding form and clarify anything we need to. We'll walk through the shot list and get approval of the mood board and see if there's anything they want to change in there. This call is really important because it really sets the tone for the project and ensures that everyone is on the same page moving forward. Most of the time, revisions happen because of some sort of miscommunication. I'm teaching you to over communicate so everything goes super smooth here. Up until this point, we've covered the first 4 steps: pitching ideas on the sales call, client onboarding, creating the mood board, and sharing and reviewing it with the client. Now, some of you watching don't have any clients or don't have a predictable way to get more. If that's you, I have a free 60-minute workshop in the description that reveals my 4-step blueprint to landing consistent clients, and I teach you how to price your work so that you can charge thousands. Link for that is down below and it's 100% free. Step 5 of this process is going to be the actual photo shoot. I'll go through this one quickly because it's not actually relevant to planning the photo shoot, but I promised that I would teach you my entire photo shoot system, so here it is. On the shoot day, I'm very systemized in how I operate, so I like to have everything ready to go. All the props, backdrops, lighting, etc. are all organized and ready. I've got the entire shot list in the mood board in Notion, so I can just follow that on my computer and pretty easily go through the shoot. I'll always shoot tethered from my camera into Capture One. This itself saves so much time during the shoot because you can quickly check focus in Capture One as well as exposure. On top of that, you can rate the images quickly so that you know what to keep and what gets deleted. As I'm taking photos, I'm constantly checking my computer and ranking the photos. 1 star means I keep it, 0 stars means I delete it. Again, I'm following the mood board and shot list all throughout the shoot. When I'm done shooting, the photos I'm deciding to keep get imported into Lightroom. In Lightroom, I'll further narrow down the shots that we're gonna keep, I'll crop them, do some minor edits, and at that point, I'm pretty much done with the project with all the work that I'm doing. At this stage, I'm either gonna send them over to the client for approval of the first proofs, or I'll just directly send them to my photo editor and she handles the rest here. I highly recommend that you use an editor because it saves you so much time. They're relatively inexpensive and your time is worth a lot more than editing photos. This is a big unlock. You can spend the extra time getting new clients, doing more photography work that you love doing, or just chilling. If you need help hiring or working with an editor like this in a systemized way, I teach this to all of my students inside my full program, Creative Biz Launch. Okay, now at this point, the photos are ready to deliver to the client. I send them over, the client loves them, and we've got another successful shoot in the books. Now that we know how to generate unlimited photo shoot ideas for clients, we've eliminated revisions in the process, and we have a systemized way to approach each client shoot that we can follow every single time to get the best results. My name is Chris Pieta. I want to say thank you for watching till the end, and I will see you next time.